I read a post from a woman recently, and if you ever felt like someone keeps giving you advice you didn't ask for, this is going to hit. Because on the surface, it all sounds small, but underneath, it's not about advice at all. Women after 40 need to hear this. They call it advice, but it's actually control. You know, there's a razor-thin line between being helpful and being controlling, and it's often disguised as just a friendly suggestion. Picture this, a woman who is absolutely crushing it. She's successful, capable, and happy. She's got her life handled, but there's this one family member who's constantly offering helpful advice on everything from her career choices to what she should be eating for dinner. And she tells herself, they mean well, but do they? Because every single piece of advice feels less like support and more like a quiet, steady attempt to grab the steering wheel of her life. It's that invisible weight, that subtle hint that left to her own devices, she's just not quite getting it right. It's the undertone. So what happens when something is supposedly for your own good, but your gut is screaming that it's really about their need for control? And more importantly, what happens when you finally work up the courage to ask them to stop it? This here is going to be the aha moment. It's not help, it's a power play. If that little story felt uncomfortably familiar, I want you to take a deep breath. That knot in your stomach when their name pops up on your phone, the way your shoulders tense up when they start a sentence with you, you know, that's not you being dramatic. It's your intuition, and it's picking up on a pattern. In psychology, this isn't just a personality quirk. It's a covert bid for control. Unsolicited advice isn't just annoying, it's a way of creating an instant power imbalance. The person giving the advice automatically slides into the role of the expert, the teacher, the one who knows better. And that automatically puts you in the position of the student, the novice, the one who needs fixing. This triggers something in your brain called psychological reactance. It's a totally natural defensive response you have when your freedom is threatened. That flash of irritation you feel, that's your brain's alarm system going off. It's flashing and saying, this is not right. That's your brain's alarm system going off, warning you that your right to make your own damn choices is being undermined. It's your gut telling you that this isn't about you, it's about their need to feel in charge. This is about their superiority, not your support. So why do they do it? Let's get real. The first and most critical reason is that unsolicited advice is rarely about solving your problem. Rarely. It's about propping up their own sense of superiority. People who are chronic advice givers often operate from a deeper seated belief, whether they admit it or not, that they're just a little bit smarter, more sensible, or more experienced than everyone else. Their advice is how they constantly remind you and themselves of their place in the social or family hierarchy. They get to be the designated wise one, which means you have to be the one perpetually in need of their wisdom. And think about the advice itself. Is it really that insightful, or is it just a projection of their own life choices and anxieties? Usually, it's the latter. When they tell you how to manage your money, what they're really doing is validating their own financial habits. When they criticize your parenting, they're just reinforcing their own. It's not about lifting you up. It's about making them feel secure by trying to turn your life into a mirror of their own. Because you see, if they can make your life look like their own, then that means that what they're doing is right. But they start off by doing this and propping themselves up as being the right one to begin with. It's a compulsion, really. A way for them to quiet their own anxiety by trying to manage your life. And it leaves you feeling completely unseen. They aren't seeing your struggle or your strengths. They're just seeing a problem that only they believe they are smart enough to solve. This erodes your confidence. The second reason this is so damaging is that it's like a slow acting poison to your self-confidence. Every piece of unasked for advice, no matter how small, carries the same unspoken message: you're doing it wrong. Over time, that creates a relentless buzz of internal noise. You start to second guess everything. Should I have taken that job? Was that the right thing to say to my kid? Or am I even capable of making a good decision on my own? Now you are. You know you are. The external voice of the advisor slowly worms its way inside and becomes your own internal voice of doubt. Research even shows this, that this pattern can seriously undermine your confidence in your own ability to solve problems. Yes, it can, because you're always second guessing yourself, because you always have this voice in your head telling you that they know better, right? You should go to them when you have a problem. Don't listen to yourself, come to them. This is specifically toxic for people who are already managing a million things, particularly over-functioning women and mothers. That's why I'm coming to you with this, because if you're conditioned to take care of everyone else, you often find yourself drowning in a sea of suggestions about your parenting, your career, and your home. These little helpful hints don't feel helpful at all. They feel like a constant judgment of your every move. And that feeling of being on edge, it's real. It's real. Neuroscience shows that intrusive, unsolicited advice can trigger your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, that's that fight or flight system, in the exact same way a more obvious threat would. It's a genuine physiological stress response to having your autonomy challenged again and again. If you're sitting there nodding along, feeling like you're constantly being corrected under the guise of help, just take a second to honor that feeling. If you've ever felt guilty for being resentful about it, you can let that go right now. Your reaction is perfectly normal. Now, we're going to talk about the confrontation and the explosion. What's that, do you ask? Let's go back to the capable, successful woman that we talked about at the beginning. After years of just smiling, nodding, and saying, "Thanks, I'll think about that," she finally hits her limit. She's like, "Stop telling me what to do." And one day, after getting yet another unsolicited suggestion about her life, she tries something new. She doesn't fight back. She doesn't get defensive. She just calmly sets a boundary. She says something simple like, "I really appreciate that you care, but I'm not looking for advice on this. I've got it handled." That seems like a perfectly okay response, doesn't it? She uses an I statement, which expresses her own need without pointing a finger. And that's when the mask doesn't just slip, it shatters. The reaction isn't, "Oh wow, I'm sorry, I didn't realize." The reaction is an explosion from the other person. who wants to give the advice or who has been giving the advice, suddenly she's ungrateful, she's disrespectful, she thinks she's too good for the family now. The advisor does not back down. They double down. They might play the victim, try to rally other family members to their side, or twist her perfectly reasonable boundary into a vicious personal attack. And this is the most important aha moment of all. That explosion is the final piece of the puzzle. It proves the advice was never, ever about helping her. It was about maintaining control. When she rejected the advice, she wasn't just turning down a suggestion. She was rejecting their authority over her life. The anger isn't about her being disrespectful. It's about their loss of control. Their reaction tells you everything you need to know. So, what do you do? What to do? You can't change a controlling person, but you can absolutely change your role in the dynamic. It isn't about fighting fire with fire. That doesn't work. It's about refusing to play the game. Here are 3 simple, effective strategies you can use. First, the neutral close. This is your go-to for low-stakes, everyday advice. Instead of debating or defending yourself, you just shut it down with a neutral, non-committal phrase. Thanks. I'll consider that. Got it handled. But thank you. Appreciate you sharing that. Then immediately change the subject. It shows you're in control without starting a fight. Second, the clear boundary. For the more persistent or more intrusive stuff, you need to be more direct. But you can still be calm. You have to be calm. Use I statements to make it about your needs. I know you're coming from a good place, but right now, I really just need you to listen, not offer solutions. Or you can say something like, I value your perspective, but this is something I need to figure out on my own. It's much harder for someone to argue with your stated needs than with an accusation. And third, we have the exit. In situations where someone blows up or simply refuses to respect your boundaries, your most powerful tool is your own absence. You have every right to say, I'm not going to continue this conversation, and walk away. End the phone call. Abruptly change the subject. You are never obligated to stand there and be a punching bag for someone's control issues. Protecting your peace is always more important than winning an argument. And remember, their reaction is not your problem. If they get angry because you set a healthy boundary, all they're doing is confirming exactly why that boundary was so necessary in the first place. For way too long, we've been taught that politely tolerating unsolicited advice is a sign of respect, especially when it comes from family. It's time to call it what it is. Advice you didn't ask for isn't help. It's an intrusion. A suggestion that comes with a silent obligation isn't support. It's a lever for control. The goal isn't to shut down everyone with an opinion. Okay? That's not the goal. The goal is to reclaim your rightful place as the ultimate authority in your own life, to start trusting your own gut again, and to understand that a truly loving relationship is one where your freedom is respected and not constantly challenged. An angry outburst in response to a simple boundary is the brightest red flag you'll ever see. And it tells you the dynamic was never about your well-being. It was always about their power. Reclaiming your autonomy isn't selfish. It isn't disrespectful. It is the most fundamental act of self-respect there is. If this video sparked a light bulb moment for you, please like and subscribe for more content on reclaiming your power from subtle manipulation. And I'd love for you to share your own experience in the comments below, because reading through them reminds every single person in this community that they are not alone. you are not being disrespectful. You are no longer being easy to override. So let me ask you this. One last question for you. Are they helping you? Or are they positioning themselves above you?